It's a mystery that's left researchers baffled for more than a century.
He is one of the world's most infamous serial killers. He is responsible for the murder of 5 prostitutes in London's East End. Crime scene so gruesome, Jack the Ripper.
But who was this shadowy serial killer who got away with so many murders 126 years ago? Just last month, molecular biologists said DNA testing finally put a face to the haunting name.
The hairdresser, shown here, Aaron Kosminski, was the infamous serial killer who haunted London's East End in the 1880s.
But now, news has surfaced that one tiny error in the DNA analysis proves the supposed identity of the Ripper to be false. That mistake, misplacing a decimal point.
The scientists examining the DNA put a decimal point in the wrong location. When you fix that mistake, the blood from the shawl could be linked back to half the human population.
So, as The Independent points out, the mistake discovered by an Australian blogger means just about anyone could be Jack the Ripper. So, we're back to square one. One of the only relics left from the infamous 19th century crime spree is the shawl of the 4th victim, Catherine Eddowes. That was the key focal point in the most recent examination into the killer's identity.
It was a piece of Catherine Eddowes' apron. And he'd used it to wipe his hands on. It was covered with blood and mess from inside her body.
Russell Edwards is the businessman who facilitated DNA testing by scientists.
I've managed to conclusively prove scientifically from the evidence left therein the identity of Jack the Ripper.
Of his findings, Edwards said, only non-believers who want to perpetuate the myth will doubt. This is now we have unmasked him. Edwards bought the shawl in a 2007 auction. With it came a letter from a police officer's relative who claims the officer found the shawl next to Catherine's body and took it.
It's interesting evidence, but it's evidence that's going to get torn apart, it's going to be argued over, debated over, and then 6 months down the line, another likely suspect's going to come forward. We'll never know, in my opinion, for certain who he was.
One specific issue that was brought up since the beginning of the examination of the shawl is how many people have probably touched it. As Catherine Eddowes was a prostitute, she likely came in contact with a number of men from that area who, in turn, probably left behind traces of DNA. Although the efforts to identify Jack the Ripper have been slowed, a writer for Casebook notes one can only applaud those willing to take a scientific approach to the Jack the Ripper mystery. But remember, the beauty of science is that it can be independently tested and verified, and as it stands now, the claims must be taken with a heavy dose of salt. A last point, Aaron Kosminski, the Polish immigrant Edwards thought was the Ripper, has been on the list of suspects along with 2 other men since 1894. For Newsy, I'm Jasmine Bailey.